can't help myself. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. I just want to bring you the only 3 games I played in this hourly Super Blitz arena. This is the 3rd and last game. I came across my opponent, who was 3-1 up at the time, and I'm thinking, oh no. So what do? I think I'm not going to play my F5 French. Okay, so that's what I decide to do, because without looking at the actual games that we've had, I probably lose because I'm maybe a bit loose, or maybe I've just went berserk. Great, all the excuses in the book. But here's this game I played that finished 50 minutes ago. So this is round 3 for me of 3 games in total, where I actually did get 3 out of 3. Okay, so I think you might be able to believe me, but I might be fibbing. And I happened to see one of my best chess friends, who was here from another town of New Zealand, yesterday, and had a great time with this friend of mine. I really love him. He's just great. He's really good value. So here we go. Here's this game. And so this is, I can't help myself, because it's just, I can't. So here we go. I just want to bring you this game because it involves me asking for a draw. Okay, so here we go. Now, if I look at this so far, I play similar to white with bishop d6. Here comes knight f3, and I play knight e7. So I've deviated from white's plan here. Castle, but not castling. Castling, I'm castling. h3. Okay, now, I actually play book. Believe it or not, I actually play book with bishop f5. Now here I'm just offering to swap off this bad white squared bishop of mine with this pawn, and sometimes this pawn hampering its view of the board, whereas this bishop is primo, isn't it? Okay, so I want to get rid of white's valuable piece to my not so valuable piece. So that's why I'm doing this. There is a method to my madness. Okay, moving on, rook e1, so I just go bishop d3. I know it's a little bit naughty because it helps white develop their position, their queen in this case. So I have to be very careful that I've now captured this bishop with I've now captured this bishop of white's, and it allows white to develop their game. But anyway, moving on. Queen d3. f6. Here was some hesitation because I am thinking about this square for queen hopping in here to this square and picking up my bishop, basically. So I have to be very careful, plus also just the protection of this knight on e7 is hinging on this bishop and this queen. So it's quite easy to move the queen away. So here, I've done that. Don't you worry about that. And whereas white's just gone queen e6 check and queen takes bishop. Ouch! And, or in this case, queen takes knight. So I played f6. Bishop e3 and knight g6. Now, here is a move that isn't developing for white. It's knight e2. And white is developed anyway, you might say. Well, maybe. Probably is, actually, so I'll just take that all back. I play queen c7, c4. Okay. Now, what do I do now? Panic. I play dc4 and queen c4 check. Now I know that this king's going to move to h8, of course, and I'm not going to play rook f7. I'm going to play king h8. And then after that, I know that I'm not going to get this queen e6 check and picking up this bishop or this knight. So it's like kind of a little bit basic, but it's good to be basic because here we go, king h8. And I have to report. I have to report to you. I have to be honest. I have to report to you and be honest that I've actually bungled my puzzle rating on leechess.org as well. I've lost about, 46 points for being impetuous. I was impetuous in my game, or in that looking at the puzzle, I was impetuous. And also, the good thing is you might like to check out my wee medal. I've got a wee medal on Leechess, but I'm not trying to brag. I'm pretty pleased with it because that's what happened in that marathon on Saturday. I didn't play in the whole thing, but I played some games of chess, that's all. And so I got 349th, which earns me a medal because I was in the top 500. So there you go. That's not bad. So, and that will stay, I think, with me. d5. Now, I would like to be able to play knight b6 here and then ping this pawn, win this pawn for nothing. But, of course, white's going to play bishop b6, and then we're going to be left with this isolated c-pawn. This pawn's off the board, okay? It's off the board. It's trying to get off the board, or it's actually there. So that would not be any good for me, I think. Might be okay. d5, knight de5. Swap off a pair of hooves, as the greatest coach in the world says. Knight e5 and knight e5, because I just like better to be able to ping the queen and see where she goes next. Queen e4, and here I played cd5. Now, after queen d5, I played rook a d8, okay? So this is looking like I can go ping and ping check, 2 checks. But, of course, if I go knight f3 check, okay, if I go knight f3 check, first move, okay, if it's my move, then this queen's just going to take back the knight. And then I'm going to lose and be 4-1 down against this great chess opponent of mine, okay? So I played rook a d8, and my opponent played rook a c1, move 20, and on move 20, I played as black queen b8. So now, my opponent was offered a draw, okay? Now, my opponent was offered a draw. I offered my opponent a draw here after my queen b8 move, or maybe in his turn, I don't know. And so with 21 queen b3, that was a refusal of my draw offer as the rules of chess dictate. So, it is your move. What move would you play now? Because something happens to me when my opponent, practically we're equal kind of thing, but he is a wee bit of my bogeyman. If I am speaking about a guy, it might be a lady. But he's a little bit of a bogeyman. For me to have 3-1 with this player without looking at the games, he's a bit of a bogeyman for me. Okay, so I have to be careful. But when someone refuses a draw off me, it does seem to switch on a switch inside my mechanism somewhere in my brain or whatever, or the refusal of it. So have you found the move? All that ramble is really good for your chess. I've told you that 100 times. This ramble I'm doing is really good for you to concentrate at the same time. It's like in the one of the chess books I've got, maybe the bedside book or whatever, the chess player's bedside book. It says that it's good to have your opponent or your friend purposely put you off while you're trying to concentrate, like blowing smoke into your face, because that happened a lot in chess tournaments. So in this case, have you found the move? And good on you if you found the move. It's twisting the tables on white with the following move. Good on you for seeing it, knight d3. Now I win an exchange, and it's going to happen. But white plays really, really well. And it was quite scary, actually, quite scary, because I think, am I going to lose another game? Now, of course, queen d3 is not possible, really, because of what? Bishop h2 check. And there, notice the rook is going to take, and the bishop is defended by the queen. Notice that the rook is going to take the queen next move after king moves h1 or f1. Okay, so was that lucky? Probably, but my friend doesn't seem to think so. He doesn't actually agree. My friend from church does not agree with anything called luck. Well, I've had this discussion with him, and I've said, well, if I'm rolling a set of die or dice, die is singular, dice is plural, I guarantee that it's probably luck. I don't think it's anything else. Anyway, moving on, and so I'm going to show you the last part of this hairy game. Look, knight d4. Now, white is threatening knight e6 and also queen d3. So, normally I would say wait till one of the rooks, or any chess coach will say, wait till one of the rooks move before you capture it. But in this case, the knight's moved here, and it's threatening this spot here, okay? And it's also threatening now queen takes knight, because this knight can be lifted. So I take the knight, I take the rook that is the best one, and that is, of course, attacking the queen at the same time, or simultaneously, knight c1, and here's rook c1, and here I offer an exchange of a pair of rooks, because I don't want white to play knight e6 and win my rook back. So I play, my opponent plays rook d1 on move 24, and here comes bishop h2 without any reason. King h1. I have to think about what am I going to do here. Bishop e5. I'll start swapping. Knight f5, because it's very good to swap. Okay, it's very good to swap. Now notice I've got to be careful of queen in here and checkmate. Okay, so I have to watch out for tricks, let me say tricks of that nature. And so, but what was I just saying? I was just saying something. Oh, darn. I forgot what I was saying. Yes, that's right. Good. And it's good to say to yourself, I haven't forgotten. I'm not bad at forgetting. I'm not good at forgetting things. I actually will remember this, especially names. It's very good to teach yourself, as I've learnt just recently and lately, where I would say, I can't remember people's names. So that was my software package for my brain to say, I can't remember people's names. So that was not good programming for my brain, because it would just say, well, I don't have to, it was lazy at least as well. So here's knight f5, rook c d8. So what I'm trying to say is it's very good to swap off pieces when you're up in material, but not pawns, as I've mentioned earlier, and other chess coaches and that sort of thing say similar. So here's rook c d8. Don't swap off pawns if you're a piece up. Swap off pieces so that you've got your prowess with your pawn still, so you don't have to try to win a rook versus a bishop or a knight at the end with just those pieces and kings on board. B6. This is just taking the heat off these two queenside pawns, see? From attack of the queen, attack of the bishop, but soon white does not give up. Queen C, oh, shivers, sorry. Gets set all over again. I'm just going through it. I normally wouldn't go through it, but I just hit the mouse and I just decided to do that. So what's your sort of move now? What would you play for black here now on move 28? This is probably my main session, but there is another game where I don't waffle so much, but I love waffling. I love waffles too. Is that Shrek? Anyway, Queen C8 is the move I played. So this is just hitting the soft spot, and it's also looking at this pawn here. So here comes G4. And so everyone can see the obvious move is Queen C6 check. And this is probably, I think I played here Queen D5 now. I played Queen D5. Can I just play Queen F3? I played Queen D5, Queen A4. I'm looking after my pawns. I'm being sensitive to my pawns. Rook D7, B3, and Rook FD8. Now, these rooks can look after each other, can't they? Have to be careful for bishop. Maybe it gets pushed back to B8 or something. But I have to be careful. Now comes Queen A6. This is kind of annoying, but now I play the move. Which do you play now? And this is getting into the puzzle side of things about not being impetuous like I was and losing like 46,000 points for my rating for puzzles. So here's the next move. You can see it. I think you can. It's Queen F3, and all of a sudden my opponent started to go down in time a little bit because this is a little bit annoying. And I was just thinking to myself, I was actually thinking to myself a wee bit like this. I offered you a draw, and guess what? You turned it down. It's kind of a little bit dangerous. I'm not saying that I'm great or something. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying I think it's kind of a mistake to do that. So here comes, what did white play here? What would you play here? I mean, like, I don't think there's anything much to play here, really, because it's getting quite sad, isn't it? It's probably a lost position now for white. Queen F3, Knight H4 happened. And, of course, I took the pawn because I'm thinking, well, that's a pawn, and I'm threatening checkmate with Queen here. H2 checkmate. So F4 came about, and Queen E3. I don't know why my opponent kept going, but King G2, Rook D2. Still played on King H1, Queen H3, King G1, and Queen H2 checkmate. There is, of course, Bishop to D4 check, and I would be bringing all the forces in to the game with Bishop F2 checkmate after Rook F2 forced, and that's it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that one. So this is round 3 of 3 games only at the pinnacle end of the tournament, where I played my great strong opponent from, I think it's Greece, Argentina. Okay, bye for now.